recent release of the KVK 99M in Black Ops 3, or as a lot of people will just call it, the AN94, a lot of people have been saying this is the best weapon that we have in Black Ops 3. A lot of people are proclaiming that it's overpowered. A lot of people are saying that this is the best DLC weapon in Black Ops 3 at the moment. So I figured I want to break that down a little bit here, give you guys a little bit of a statistical comparison of where this stacks up against all the other weapons in which it might be outclassed by, or that it might outclass. Primarily, a lot of this will focus with the comparable numbers within the assault rifle range, but that also means that it will end up practically comparing to some of the other ones. We'll talk about not only the statistical feel, but also the in-game feel here if you end up playing with it. So that said, let's talk a little bit about the numbers. Statistically, you'd be surprised because it does not actually stack up as well as a lot of people will think. That whole pay-to-win overpowered weapon thing that's been going around as of the past year and a half that Black Ops 3 has been putting weapons into supply drops, it doesn't necessarily apply to this weapon in particular, I don't think. You, of course, could disagree with that, but let me tell you why here. Firstly, the damage has been pinpointed down to 35 damage at its closest range in one shot. That's something that, of course, then again, you have to take into consideration the multipliers. Headshots are 1.1 across the board for assault rifles, so that will bump it up a little bit in terms of the damage to make it almost a two-shot, but that, once again, goes for basically any assault rifle, and especially some of the other ones that are more powerful. The damage, though, once again, is 35, and comparing that to the other assault rifles, it falls behind the KN44, the XR2, the Man War, the Shiva, the MX Garand, and the M16, all in that assault rifle class. Now, once again, if you compare it to other weapons, like, say, the SMG class, that outclasses everything in the SMG class. It does tie for the highest damage in the SMG, but still outclasses for what that is then. The only things that really head and shoulders outclass this are, say, the sniper rifles and then shotguns as well too, which that's to be expected. As for other properties though, such things being like the ADS speed, it's surprisingly outclassed by no ARs, but matched with the Galil and the Man War when firing. But it is matched with every standard ADS speed of all the ARs except for the Peacekeeper, which is slower than the rest. So it kind of falls a little bit above the pack here for some aspect of it, but is of course on par with the standard ADS speeds that happen whenever you're not firing. As for the next thing though, being the rate of fire, that's something that base weapon-wise, this is actually middle of the road. It's almost dead center. It outperforms the XR2, Man War, Shiva, MX Garand, and the M16, but that's also to be expected. All of these are burst or semi-automatic weapons, save the exception of the Man War. It's outclassed then by every other full auto assault rifle though, so take that into consideration as you will. But as for statistics, once again, you can see it kind of just falls more so in the middle of the pack. It doesn't stand out as being too good or too bad, or at least not from whatever I'm seeing whenever I look at statistical sheets and analytical data. That's something that when you look at it, once again, just kind of there. As for the feel-wise, it feels great, but of course you can definitely, once you play around with it a little bit more, tell that it ends up being outgunned by a lot of things. Even SMGs at range end up taking me down to things that I think that I should have ended up having. I know recently when I was playing around on it on a good buddy of mine, Divine's account, and the gameplay you'll be seeing in the background, this is something where I was getting one-bursted by things, I was getting outgunned by things where I definitely thought that I had that. But of course, it didn't turn out to be as such. And of course, comparing it to the original AN94 with the damage of that being 40, that's again a tremendous increase, though only 5 more damage points. That can do a lot more damage, and that would almost, at this point in time in Black Ops 3, put that in the top tier of the assault rifle category within Black Ops 3. Granted, there are things like the MX Garand or the Shiva in which those single-shot weapons have a higher damage, but that compensates because it is a semi-automatic weapon. So when you have the full auto of a 40 and then take it down to a 35, it does nerf it in a sense and makes it less powerful. So personally, when I look at this and I take a look at how I felt playing it, it definitely felt great, but I think that it might have been more so a honeymoon phase and something of a placebo effect where everybody's like, dude, this gun is amazing, try it out. But in reality, whenever you take that bias out of it, whenever you go in and completely just disregard any outside noise or any outside influence, it's basically just middle of the pack. So is this one a pay-to-win weapon? I personally don't think so. Of course, you guys still might think so, and that's totally cool. There's nothing wrong with that. It all comes down to personal preference. But when I take a look at it on paper and when I take a look at what I felt whenever I was playing with it, it definitely felt just kind of there. Like, I sometimes at points would love to have used my ICR or my KN-44, and that says a lot because the ICR is a drastic damage reduction compared to the KVK. Sure, 5 damage points isn't a lot in terms of, say, 1 to 5, but of course, when you take a look at it, it is also one of the assault rifles with the lowest damage. Like, it's tied with a bunch for the lowest damage possible of the assault rifle category. So when I think about that and my preference here with that, it's kind of interesting to me that I kind of compare it to that. I don't know. I personally just think that it might have been a little bit overhyped, and I don't think that it necessarily is the best weapon in Black Ops 3. It's fun to use. It is a throwback and a classic that relives that nostalgia, definitely, but as for being a god gun or the best gun in Black Ops 3 or the best DLC weapon, I don't personally think so at this point in time. So that said, we're gonna wrap it up, and I'd love to get your feedback here on this. What do you think of it? Have you played around with it? Do you think it is something that lives up to the hype, or do you think it's just kind of, once again, middle of the road, as the stats will indicate, and what I personally believe as well? Of course, you guys could totally agree, disagree, whatever it is, it's totally cool, and of course, I totally respect that point of view and opinion, and of course, feel free to drop it. That said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and if you guys did, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course, if you guys are new to the channel as well, make sure you guys subscribe to stay up to date with everything we have here regarding Black Ops 3, both multiplayer and zombies with Zombies Chronicles, World War II with multiplayer and zombies there as well, Modern Warfare Mastered, Infinite Warfare, all that good stuff, we got you covered here up on the channel. And finally, if you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, that is the best place to get connected with me outside of YouTube. Practically live on Twitter, so if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, link is down there in the description below. With all that said and out of the way, hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks so much for watching. Mine is an Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care, and peace.